Right, if you're a season ticket holder in a Johnny Haynes stand, you become familiar with a lot of faces, and sometimes that does actually blur the distinction between just someone that comes to Fulham every week and actual Fulham legends.
A guy that actually we could have used last weekend when Anderson went off injured is Alain Goma. Alain, thank you so much for joining us on Fulham Fix.
Yes, mate.
Nice to meet you guys. Nice to see you. Sorry.
Nice to see you again. Yeah. I was you were kind of. We've met before. We've had a chat before. It was me, you, and Sean, and that was really lovely to be a part of. To you guys, all the memories come flooding back.
Oh, talking about Tigana years, did you?
Yeah, joining then, and it was really, really wonderful to sort of just sit there and listen to you guys chat away. But something that I learned yesterday for sure. I think we both learned was, and I don't know if many people know this. You're a season ticket holder at Fulham with your boys, but you're not ringing the club saying, "Can I get some season tickets?" You're just buying the season tickets, and you've been coming for years, and you're sitting there in the Johnny Haynes. That's awesome.
No, that's correct. The thing is, when since my kids were little, the aim was to I wanted them to discover the vibe, the atmosphere at Craven Cottage. I wanted to share these emotions with them. And naturally, we got a season ticket when they were little, and later on, actually, they were bragging me, to get a season ticket. So for many years, we've been a season ticket holders.
That's beautiful. Like, I've had it a few times where I thought that I was seeing a mirage. I thought, is that Alain Goma just in the middle of a stand with a scarf on? Like a hallucination, but it was actually you.
Yeah.
And do you get bothered much, or do you blend into, because it's like so unusual to have a Fulham legend, genuinely, like it's in the crowd? Do people sort of double take?
Yeah, I got a few mates in the stand, that I see week in, week out.
Yeah, like Alain, yeah.
No, people are very respectful, like they've always been, and now we have a good chat,
Where you in Johnny Haynes?
Johnny Haynes, yeah, just behind the press.
Oh, right, on the halfway line. Johnny Haynes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we could have used you on the weekend when Joachim Andersen picked up that knock and we were down to 10 men. How are you? And do you still play? How comfortable you felt to jump on the pitch at that point? And
not really. Unfortunately, I got bad knees. It was the first one until a few months ago. Now it's the second one.
Oh man,
which is a bit dodgy. So I can't even run at the moment. So I'm a bit frustrated. So you wouldn't want to see me on the pitch. Forget that.
But how are you enjoying the season then? Like I said, you've been. We can speak to you now about every season, but currently, right now, Fulham looking really good the last few years under Marco Silva. The way we're playing, quite similar to Jean Tigana, I think, the style we're playing.
Yeah, passing football, I think that, they're doing a great season this year. There've been, a bit of ups and downs. I think we need a bit more of consistency, playing a few games in the trot, I think would be good for the morale. But I think we've got a strong squad in depth. And I think it's going to be useful. Christmas is coming. There's plenty of games, and I think it's a crucial period in the season. And the fact that we've got enough depth, I think quality in the squad, that's going to be helpful.
I like that you're using "we" for Fulham. Do you consider yourself a Fulham supporter?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Really? Brilliant, man. That's a beautiful
Love
thing.
hearing that.
Because we were just before we came on air, we were talking about Auxerre, about your time in Auxerre, which we'll get into in a second. But when you were describing how small the club is and the community, is it a similar type of club to Fulham in terms of like it being a small club and a family club? But are there similarities from your past at Fulham?
The thing is, the club has changed a lot since I left Fulham. But when I came here in 2001, I think, this is, something I felt, something special. There was something special about the club. Like you mentioned, family. I thought, the fact that we trained, where the offices are. So it was like a sort of a team effort, in the large sense. To go back to Auxerre, special moment in my life. I spent 10 years down there. I went from the age 14, 15 to the academy, all the way up to professional. And it was, I had a great time over there.
Yeah, so you were there for 10 years before you went to Newcastle, where you were for a year.
I went in between. I went to Paris Saint-Germain for
Paris Saint-Germain, of course. Yeah.
For one season, yeah.
Yeah. And just quick, so I know that we just talked about it off mic, but just quickly for context for Fulham fans, because they won't know this, the manager at Auxerre, he'd been there for 40 years, we think, or something. Just give us a quick backstory about that, because it is fascinating and not like any other club, really.
Yeah, so his name is Giroud. So he's been there for, actually now he's, still present, in the background. But, for 40 years he's been leading the club from amateur football up to Champions League, actually. And now he's a figure in the area, not only in the city but in the region, and he's respected by everyone. And it's he set up some basically he's a man from he's a sort of, or the image he wants to show is like he's a farmer.
Yeah, he's
Wholesome.
And basically he comes across with his hat on, with his gloves, a bit kind of the aim behind that is to distract but within the dressing room is a proper leader. Right. So but for example, I remember one of the game we played Monaco. It was many years ago. And at the time we had the main stadium, and beside you had an annex where you do the warm-up. And so before the game, every team, us and the away team, we used to do warm-up on this pitch. And Monaco, for some reason, they wanted to warm up on the main pitch. So he saw that, he was furious. So before the game starts, he came in the dressing room, and he went, these sons of princes, who do they think they are? But he had a speech, we came on the field, we wanted to destroy them, and we ended up we won 4-0.
Oh,
so
nice.
There was a great outcome. So he was a great leader. He was he was charismatic, and every he was like a bit of a father, to us, So he was checking, of course, the players, For example, another example, before the game, we used to go to the hotel and leave our car, and the game of the day of the game, we would take the coach to go to the stadium. So what he was doing, one of his techniques was to check first of all the mileage on the cars.
Oh, wow.
To make sure no one is escaping during the night.
Okay. No way.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's great.
Wow.
And also, also he used to put like a little, branch, behind the wheels,
Yeah.
to check, if the guy reversed, to
that's
unplug
genius.
the guy. Yeah.
That's
So,
genius.
he has a few tricks like that.
Like a detective film. You hear it
Exactly.
crunching.
There you go. He's got me.
Wow.
Some old school tricks. But but the thing is, some details, you would make sure that, when you come out of the dressing room, you wear the proper clothing, not to catch a cold.
Yeah.
Because if you catch a cold, you won't be available for the next game, blah, blah. So all these kind of details.
Wow.
And also, it was a club, they were managing, the finances quite well. So, without anyone knowing it, the club was very rich.
Right.
And we used to, I think there were not many clubs like us who used to travel the way we're traveling. So we had two small jet plane. Okay. So when we were playing away, so we used this, actually one of the owners.
You owned the jets, the club owned the jets?
Yeah, one of the owners of the club, owned two jets.
Right.
Wow. So you just jump on that, would you?
So, yeah. So, and the idea was to come as soon as possible after the away game to rest, recover for the next game. So all the add up of these small details, was, in fact, to build up, to make sure that we are ready, we are in the right conditions to be at our best, basically.
Wow. If you don't mind fast forwarding in time a little bit, that it just made me think, hearing all about, because obviously you were a star in the Tigana team, and so many players we've spoken to from the English culture, Lee Clark, Davis, a few others, Chris Coleman, they all spoke about how the work ethic was so intense for them, the detail of the working. Was there a similarity there between Tigana's methods? Because I know he tried to sign you as well, didn't he, back in the day?
Yeah, correct, yeah. No, I nearly went to Monaco in 97, I think. Yeah, 97. Unfortunately, the club didn't let me go at the time. So, but I think it's quite common. It was quite common at the time in French football, to have this kind of discipline and this kind of organization around the game.
Yeah. So, specific detail type thing.
Yeah, specific details, yeah.
Was it intense with Tigana? Did you think that training was particularly intense? Or was it not different for you?
For me, not especially. Actually, under Tigana, it was, for me, it was a bit of a revival, when I came to Fulham. The reason is, when I was at Newcastle, I had quite a long injury. I had a tear on my Achilles tendon, and it took ages to recover. And when I came down to Fulham, I felt I felt relaxed. There was a team around, Roger Propos, Christian Damiano.
Yeah.
And there was, and basically, towards my injury, it was not a specific injury. I think it was, a bit more to that, reinforcing, some parts of my body. So it was not, there was like the approach was different, basically. It was about, recovering my whole fitness and working on different aspects, physical aspects. So, and I felt I was in safe hands, and recovered me the joy to play and to be able to come back to my best level, basically.
I remember Sean saying just when you did arrive, they didn't really see you because you went straight in with Roger, and basically they all found it quite hilarious because they knew what you'd be going through, because he was, they used to run you hard, to try and make you recover, but
do you know there's interesting context as well, because obviously you come in as replacement in a way for Chris Coleman, who's just had the car crash situation. How much did you know about that before you came in? Because that's quite a crazy thing for Fulham fans, because we had been a club in the lowest division only a few years previous, and you've been playing at Paris, as you said, and Newcastle. So to have someone like you inside the Fulham squad was quite surreal, actually, because the club had been so. There's a lot of sliding doors moments happening at that club at that time.
Yeah.
What did you know about the Chris Coleman situation, and was it said you're going to come in for Chris eventually? Did you know that was the deal?
The thing is, initially, at the time I was at Newcastle, I was not watching much TV. No, I wasn't watching much football.
Right.
I wasn't reading the papers.
Okay.
So, much about the club. It's only, actually, when I was at Fulham, there was a bit of frustration growing because of my fitness. And I had a bit of a bust-up with Bobby Robson at the time, who who told me gently that, Fulham was interested in my services. And then I started inquiring, and I had a chat with Jean Tigana, and told me all about the project. I had a chat also with John Collins. I learned a bit more about the situation, Cookie, about, and then I looked, Luisa, I knew him from Metz, and I looked at, they were flying in Championship, it was clear that they would be in Premiership next season, and there was a whole project behind it. So. And the way Jean was working, he knew me. He wanted me to come previously in Monaco. Yeah. I think there was something, special. But as I said, it was the whole project, bringing a club from Championship, to Premier League and grow, within, this project.
Yeah,
that was, what else attracted me. And plus, I think there was also, the fact that it was, nice city, London.
Yeah.
Quite, open-minded, cultural. It's like a micro world, which was also attractive. So I think, both aspects, it was, very, very attractive.
Did you think, because I still think to this day we have it, like we talk about it a bit, where it's even you have players like Willian or whoever it's, Emil Smith-Rowe, players that are used to playing in bigger stadiums, bigger clubs, and they come to Craven Cottage and they look around and think, I can run things here a little bit. Did you feel a little bit like that, like, I can sort of own this place?
Yeah, no, absolutely. When coming from Newcastle, when I came actually and I visited the ground, it was quite a big difference, between St James's and Fulham.
Yeah, just a bit by 40,000 difference, isn't it, or something? Yeah.
But I loved it,
the
fact that the crowd is just here, the atmosphere, and also, as I mentioned, I saw a few games, when I saw the team was cruising, and the fans were over the moon.
Yeah.
So I felt, there was something special.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we were talking about. Sorry.
No, I just saying.
Felt like you could own it.
Did you feel like you could just run it?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, there was something special, and the connection between the players and everything, and also, what I could feel is, there was some potential, and when I saw, how the team was hammering the opponents, and quite often they made a difference at the end of the game because fitness-wise, they were above them.
Yeah.
I think that was a major factor, but also there was this passing football. You pass the ball. After a while, the guys the opposite, they're tired. So then, this is when you start scoring. But but also I think there was what I liked. There was a mix between players from overseas and English players.
Yeah.
And there was a good mix, a good balance.
Yeah.
And there was a good vibe. And, I loved it,
Yeah, it's actually, I was just, as Alan's saying that, I'm thinking it's like Arsene Wenger's Arsenal team. There is a similarity a little bit, isn't there?
Massive.
It was,
blending at exactly the right time.
And you're quite remarkable. Obviously, you mentioned, you signed for us. It was, I think, a record signing at the time. You're dropping down.
Yeah, it was record signing, yeah.
4 million.
Yeah.
And then, but your first game was quite remarkable. Officially, your first appearance on the bench was the game we decided to get promoted, which was wonderful.
Sheffield Wednesday, yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday, is
right,
that right?
Okay.
Was that your first? Have we got that right?
I don't remember. I remember one of the first games I played was against Portsmouth. I was not aware of the intensity of the game in Championship.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because in Premier League, there's intensity, but up to a certain limit. Yeah. But in Championship, it was more physical. And I remember, there was a ball coming out, down the line for a goal kick, and I was following, and there's, the player from Portsmouth just, shoved me. Yeah. And there was like a hole, a trench, behind
ground.
Behind
down, didn't it?
Behind the line.
Yeah.
And I saw that last second, and I tried to jump. I ended up, with my hip against the corner of the trench. Yeah. So I tried to play again. I couldn't anymore.
Because it went into the barrier or something?
Yeah, I had a massive dead leg. So, first experience.
That's a rude awakening.
First experience in the
I bet you were glad at that point that you weren't going to be in the Championship much longer. You're like, don't worry, we're technically already up, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
That's,
there's a great photo that Ivan's alluding to, which is when Sean Davis has scored against Sheffield Wednesday and been promoted, and you're in the photo, but you're in your tracksuit because you haven't played for. So it's almost like your first, your first interaction with Fulham is this moment of glory type thing.
You resisted the urge to do a John Terry and go full kit and join in the celebrations like you'd won it.
Yeah, no, but it was funny because when we got promoted, I felt I didn't belong. To the,
right.
I didn't deserve, because, it was like a team effort, and the guys, had been fantastic the whole season.
Yeah, and you're there like...
and I felt like, I got a medal, but thanks. But, I don't feel like I really deserve it. So, but it was, it was nice. It was, a good celebration. I think the club did did really well in terms of congratulating the players.
But you become the heartbeat of that team in the first year in the Premier League, which is one of the most famous years in Fulham's modern history, with Van der Sar in goal, and we finish 13th, I think, in the end, but we looks like we're going to finish a lot higher in that first season. The famous game away against Man United at the start of the season.
Yeah.
It's an FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea.
Yeah,
so your first proper season is chaos. There's so much happening, and you're right in that heartbeat of that team. Just quickly, like, in terms of the teams you played with, how good was that team? Because Van der Sar's in goal.
Yeah.
Louis Sahar.
Yeah.
Steed Malbranque.
Yeah.
I mean, yourself. Like,
Yeah.
that's an incredible football team, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, no, we had as I mentioned, I think a great balance, between players. Like I'm talking about, Steve Finnan, Sean Davis,
Yes, Steve Finnan.
Barry, who had been there at the club for, ages, and new addings to the club. I think it was a great balance, a great vibe, great atmosphere. And it was. I think everyone was very excited by this first season in Premier League. I remember personally the first game, against Man United.
Yeah.
I think it was the first game of Van Nistelrooy.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And I remember, because as I mentioned, I didn't read the press, or I wasn't really aware of what was going on in terms of transfer.
Did you do that deliberately? Just, you've mentioned that a couple of times now. Didn't read the papers, didn't watch the telly. Was that a deliberate thing, so you didn't get clouded, or you just?
It's I think not really. I think I'm passionate to a certain point.
Yeah.
Afterwards I was watching a bit more Match of the Day and stuff like that. But so far, especially when I came to the country, so I wasn't, I didn't really know, I was not reading the culture of, reading the papers, I don't want to name them, but I remember actually. It's just, because of some of my ignorance, I put myself into a situation. Basically, before the game, I think the journalist asked me the question about, there's Van Nistelrooy, it's going to be his first game tomorrow, blah, blah. And I said, sorry, I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great.
And I saw the day of the game, Goma, who is Van Nistelrooy?
Yeah, love that.
That does sound like smack talk, doesn't it?
Exactly. So there's not such thing, to motivate an opponent.
So genuine as well.
Oh, but you were just being sincere.
No, exactly.
Exactly. He was.
Exactly.
Oh, I love
exactly.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was very cool.
Yeah. But that syncs with the mentality of we're not smaller than anybody when we're coming up. Yeah, we're kind of Because that game ended 3. I always forget 3-4,
3-2. 3-2. We lost. I think we we scored first. I think Louis. He did lob Barthez. I remember. But it was a great opening. I think it was a bit of a statement. This game because we showed that we were not. We were taking it seriously, and we were, ready to fight, for to achieve something.
We were so good, in fact. Alex Ferguson started, going through and pointing at the players he was going to pick from us that time. My God, yeah. So how was coming up against Van Nistelrooy? I mean, you think of the strikers you would have faced. You were up against. How did he compare to some of the other strikers you were up against?
I think I met him. This game, it was, I think, maybe his first game, or I think throughout his time in Manchester United, he became better and better. He's, I think, it was a great footballer, smart player also. I remember his, it was quite clever in the way that he was starting always in offside position.
Oh, really?
And Giggsy was taking the side. Then crossing, he was already there, before the defenders then.
Oh.
So, smart player, good positioning, and he's a great finisher,
It was sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I was just saying, if a striker stands there, what do you do? Are you worried about picking him up if a striker stood offside?
Yeah,
are you thinking,
that was quite new. This kind of strategy. But I think some of the guys who play up front, they are quite smart to to make themselves forgotten if it makes sense. So,
yeah.
but no, it worked well for them. As a defender, when you got someone behind, you always a bit, he's offside. He should be, yeah.
Sure.
But
mind games, man, mind games.
But when you got a winger like Giggsy who can run like 30 miles per hour, you could be in trouble.
Yeah. Wow. So you're over your 4 seasons at Fulham, 5 seasons?
5 seasons.
So you're playing regularly for 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And a lot changes in that time, especially your centre-back partnerships, because you're ever present. But you've got Andy Melville, I think Kristen Val plays.
Philippe.
Zat Knight.
Zat, yeah.
Ian Pearce for a period of time was playing as your centre-back partnership.
Yes, yeah.
So almost every season you've got this rotating thing of someone coming in and out of you.
Yeah.
I guess the most obvious question is, who was your favourite centre-back partner, which was the one that clicked best for you?
Yeah. The thing is, I think in a team, the partnership between the two centre-back is so important.
Yeah.
And I think, the fact that I played with Melv week in, week out at the beginning, we knew each other. Yeah. He had his strength, I had mine, and we completed each other. I think he was a smart player. He was physical. He was not the quickest, but he was always in the right position to intervene. I would say, because of the fact we played, many games together, there was this special understanding between ourselves. And on top of that, he was a great guy. So Melv, and it was, I remember when I came, he was very, very welcoming, nice guy.
When you say he had strengths and you had strengths, what specifically were your strengths with each other? Were you like covering for him in terms of his speed sometimes? Or?
Yeah, I think Melv was, he could read the game. And as I mentioned, he could anticipate and be at the right spot at the right time. So he would be like, for example, in the old days, he would be more like a sweeper.
Yeah.
And I was maybe more man-to-man, like the physical aspect, tackling and, going to the header and stuff like that.
Yeah. You were saying at Auxerre that you'd go one-on-one quite often as well, so that was in your DNA a little bit, get a hold of someone. Yeah, no, exactly. Auxerre, it was very, very, very old school. So it was man-to-man, on the whole pitch. So the whole pitch? On the whole pitch. Right. So when I played at Auxerre, actually, I came through as a right back. Actually, I used to play. Yeah, because you played a bit at right back at Fulham occasionally. Did you? Was you always just a centre back? Yeah, maybe fill in occasionally. Yeah. But when I was through my youth, I played sweeper, so centre back, but the one behind. And when I came through, actually, it was I had an opportunity. Actually, we the first game I played. Maybe not the first game, but the first game maybe in the league I played for Auxerre. Actually, I was substitute, the day before the game. And then, so we played away actually in Nantes. So the night before the game, Giroud knocked on my door. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to start on a right back, as a right back. Yeah. In fact, what happened, we had recruited a right back. And we found out that he was not eligible because he had, several yellow cards, so he couldn't play his first game. Okay. Right. So that was my first game, basically, as a right back. So I started, and then after that, I didn't do the best game, and actually it was a game live on TV. So I was under pressure. I was quite young. I was very nervous and very tense, and I had quite a bad game. But after that, he trusted me, and he put me back again, next game. And this is, that was my position in the team actually. So I became a right back. Right. So and to go back to your question, it was man to man. So there was not really covering. You are with a man from the first to the last minute. You stay with that man. Yeah. That's.
Were you relieved to when you would have come to the Premier League? It was more, I guess, zonal marking, was it, when you came to the
So even Paris Saint-Germain, it was zone marking. Yes. Was it? So, but it takes a bit of time because from age 15 to 20, 25, I've been working in this system where you got a guy. I remember I played. I used to play. So sometimes he was playing on the left, and then he shifted on the right. So I was moving for right back position to a left back.
Wow.
Just
moving with him.
just switching
Wow.
over. That's hard work right there.
But there's an interesting story also. I was playing. I don't know if you remember Taribo West.
Of course, yeah.
Played
for Nigeria, but also Bolt.
He played for Milan.
Yeah.
But Sammy was playing. Sometimes so he came on a centre back also, and Sam, he was taught man-to-man marking. I remember he was marking a guy, and during the end of the game, the guy was substituted. So he followed him. You just
all the way to the right.
Sat
on the bench with him.
But there was a downside of it because once the player from the opposite team pass his own player. Everyone is marking his own player. So there's a bit of a way to go. Yeah.
How often, just thinking from your perspective now, watching Fulham, how often do you overhear criticism of players where people aren't actually reading the game properly? Does that happen all the time in football? Because
from players.
So in the crowd, you have everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah, everyone thinks they're manager.
It might be
better.
abuse or X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
How often do you think fans actually read a game of football accurately? Because there's often players, we've had it a lot where Bobby Zamora, for example, will be saying that he got a lot of criticism, but his job was not to score goals, it was to come back, all that kind of thing. From a defensive perspective, are you watching it thinking, actually,
these guys don't know anything, they're getting it wrong.
So you're talking about the crowd, not
the crowd, how people read the game.
And you always have this kind of comments, and people, shouting, some unhappy people, frustrated people, and sometimes, they point out, some things in the game, but sometimes I just hear, but I smile.
You don't want to lean over and say, actually, what he's doing is doing perfectly well.
Yeah, right.
You just quite often. The thing is, sometimes with the heat of the moment, I can understand there's a bit of frustration, amongst the crowd, and people, express their opinion, and maybe they I won't say anything.
Do you still watch a game and watch the centre backs? Is it interesting to you watch how defenders are?
Actually, you know what, the fact I go with my boys play football also, so we always have a kind of a critical we always look at some aspect of the game, and we sort of analyze on the spot, which is and the thing is, I think it's great for them, to be able to see, and it's inspiring, I would say, to see the positioning, to see the the reactions, to see the choices in the passing, all this kind of stuff.
Have they followed in your footsteps, and are they both gone sort of defensive in their position?
So defense, more technical. The younger one has a left foot, which I didn't have.
Okay.
So they're really passionate about football.
Right. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
So go on.
No, go on.
I was going to say, how in all, how would you sum up your time at Fulham? Clearly, like I said, you were a staple of the club. You obviously joined. You've got a lot of players around you, a lot of French players obviously around you, but you clearly loved it. I mean, you live locally as well. You're returning back. So how would you, looking back on your football career as a whole, how would you sum up your time at Fulham?
I think it was a fantastic 5 years.
We got your best years, maybe. Do you think Fulham got your best years?
And I think what I missed from my time in Auxerre, for example, was the European football. So we've been, we had a, 1 or 2 campaigns. Actually, we won the Intertoto, which was nice.
Yeah. So you won it twice.
Yeah, haven't you won it twice?
I won it twice.
You're probably the only man in the world.
Well, there's won the Intertoto twice.
Okay.
Well, we say when we sing, we won it one time. We won it one time. You're there
won
going,
it two times. Alain Goma.
He's won it 2 times. Now we need to be singing that. Now the fans know that you're in the crowd. We won it 2 times coming at the next game.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I would say, especially, the first few years, under Jean Tigana. it was it was great. And for me, as I mentioned before, it was a bit of a revival because I had although I loved the Geordies, the club and everything, there was a bit of frustration with my injuries. And I felt when I came down to Fulham, I felt part of a project, part of a family, and I felt at home. In fact, on the pitch, in the club, and within the Southwest London, basically.
And did it? I mean, it must have helped having so many fellow Frenchmen around you as well. And
It was for sure it was helpful. It was difficult sometimes to improve my English. Because lots of people and even some people working at the club took some French lessons. So which was maybe over the top because we should have made a bit more effort. But it was fantastic. And the thing is, I after my career, it's like quite often you think, after my career, I would move back, to France or whatever, to the country I'm from. But we decided, to stay here because, we wanted to raise our kids, in this environment, and this is where we wanted to live, basically. On the other side of the Thames,
on the south side.
You
get that lovely walk though through Bishop's Park though. Days.
Exactly.
That's lovely.
It's beautiful.
Are you still just out of curiosity? Are you still in contact with many of that team? All of them across the board, obviously.
Actually, I spoke to Abdes Wadou.
Oh, nice.
Not long ago.
Lovely man.
Top man.
Top
man. So actually, he had a bit of experience in Congo lately, country my father is from. So, I could relate, to his experience. Abdes, apart from Abdes, I spoke to Steed.
Whoa.
Spoke to Steed.
1 second. When did you speak to Steed?
I spoke to Steed, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not lately. Because
because we had in our podcast Finding Steed because no
one knows where Steed.
Okay.
We even rang a club which claimed that Steed was still playing, like a 3rd or 4th tier French club that Steed was playing at, and asked, do you know where Steed is? We've asked every player on the show.
So was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
No, this was a year or so ago. According to Wikipedia,
he was still playing.
It claimed he was,
My
although
gosh,
I think he'd only
yeah.
made one appearance the year before.
Yeah, I'll have a word with Steed.
I mean, you could.
Did you got his number?
Yeah.
He's got his number. Listen, this is huge. This is.
No one knows where Steed is, even Louis Morte, Rufus.
Do you know what Louis said to us when we said, "Listen, we're trying to find Steed." You know, a lot of fans, we haven't really heard much from him since, he's left Fulham, and he was a wonderful player for us, and we would love to get him.
Yeah,
love to get him on the Fulham Fix, and you've got his number right there. But Boa did say to us when he said, "Oh, we're trying to find Steed," and he went,
You
won't get Steed. And we're like, what? What has this guy become? He's mythical.
Yeah.
You friends with him?
Yeah, we're good friends. Yeah. He plays lots of paddle.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still very active. Yeah.
Okay.
Pieces
I've been doing a bit of work at the LTA. The paddle
So
house,
you need to check. You need to check the paddle clubs.
Yeah, the paddle clubs of France.
Is he still? So he's still living in France, is he?
He's in France. Yeah.
Mention that. Just going around paddle clubs of France.
What sort of budgets does Fulham have? Are they happy to follow us around France for 4 months, going to every paddle court we can find? Well, that's really nice to hear, though.
Yeah.
That you're in.
Clear one more thing up. Steed Malbranque.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Such an interesting one in Fulham's history because obviously he comes for a lot of money.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work. You've got hit. You played.
When you say doesn't necessarily work,
it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
You played with Steve back in the day, didn't you? Tell us a bit about him. Were you surprised that transfer didn't work? And
the thing is, I knew Steve. Steve. We're talking about Steve. Yeah. Steve. I knew him. Because I played with him in Auxerre actually.
Yeah.
After we won the double, I think he joined Auxerre. Great player, great mentality, hard worker, goal scorer. Fantastic attributes. And then I followed him afterwards. When he played for Lyon. And he used to play with Sonny Anderson at the front, and they were scoring goal after goal. And but I was not in touch with him directly. So, and I remember at the time, Jean Tigana asked me, what do you think? And I said straight, he's a guy, he's a fighter, and for English football, I think it would be perfect.
Yeah.
So.
So it's Alain's fault. It's your fault.
And the thing is, so he came in, and I think he had an injury quite early. So déjà vu. He had an injury when he came in, and I don't know. I don't really know what happened with Steve. I don't know if he struggled to adapt, to the lifestyle, to the culture, But the thing is, knowing the player, knowing the man, I would have thought, he would have, explored everything, in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So
You never know, do you?
And I think we saw, I don't know. We saw only, one side of Steve because, knowing him before, he was a fantastic player.
Yeah, we just didn't get the best of him.
Yeah. And I think as well, you don't have the time in the Premier League as well. You've got less opportunity to make errors, I think, as well.
Probably true, yeah.
Wow.
Before you go, if there's a Fulham dream team and you're in it as a centre-back, who's your centre-back partner out of Fulham's history? Hangeland?
Yes.
Coleman? Who else can we put in this?
Let's put in Joachim Anderson.
Yeah.
You've been watching
Aaron Hughes.
There
must be a more recent one.
Let's go with let's get Calvin Bassey in there.
Bassey.
He's been solid.
Tim Ream.
Tim
Ream.
Yeah.
Yes, Tim Ream.
Is there another good centre back? But let's pick from them. Or you can have Melville.
Yeah.
No, I feel you can't. No, he might fall back straight to Melville. We'll take Melville out. Your connection was too good.
Yeah, no, I've seen them all playing, and you know what? I was a big fan of Tim Ream.
Right.
Yeah. I thought he was composed. I'm right foot, he's left footed.
Nice.
So I think, there would be a good, understanding, complementarity, and he was, very good and composed with the ball. I was, okay. So I think, with my attribute and his attributes, I think we could have done a good partnership.
That would have been lovely, wouldn't it? Lovely to see.
Yeah.
Sit and imagine that for a second. Alain Goma, thank you so much, man.
My pleasure.
He's won it 2 times. He's won it 2 times. The Intertoto. He's won it 2 times.
I mean, we have to make that stick. Surely they got to be. He's got to be chanting that at the Cottage. How cool was that? What a lovely, lovely guy.
I loved him, and I'll be making sure to pick up that conversation when I'm sat near him in Johnny Haynes next week, which I'm sure he'll be delighted to. Do you know what? I want to be listening into his tactical conversation he has with his kids.
Without a doubt.
Alain Goma. What a magical place the Cottage is, where you can actually be eavesdropping on stuff like that.
I couldn't agree more. What a wicked guy. That's it though for this series. We're going to be back in the new year with a fresh batch of episodes and Fulham legends, and who knows, maybe Steed.
Alain, get texting, my friend.